Do you live under a rock? Or have you been playing the new hit FromSoft game, Elden Ring? Because I sure haven't. But my roommate has. One common thing every young Souls gamer experiences is death. Over and over and over again. The Elden Ring death sound is heard so often in gameplay that despite being a fairly mundane bit of audio design, it has become so incredibly iconic. So much so that it's even pretty well known outside of the player base of the actual game. Every FromSoft game features a similar sound that is actually slightly different between each game. So for this video, let's check under the hood of Elden Ring's You Died sound. We'll see how they maybe might have made it by recreating my own version. For starters, this is just a 6-second sound, with half of that just being decay and reverb, so you'd think it would be pretty simple to create. At first listen, it sounds just like one big impact in a room, but it's actually quite deceptively complex. From my own assessment, the sound is made up of 5 or so different layers that I'll attempt to isolate for some critical listening. The initial transient of the sound, another word for sharp impact or attack, sounds like someone dropping an anvil on the largest pillow in the world. It's very quick and basically fills up the entire frequency spectrum, which is a perfect exclamation point to clearly say to the player, "You're dead." It's a very solid sound that stands out over all of the other game's sound effects, ambience, and music. For my own version, I decided I would layer together 3 kick drums. One fairly normal with reverb, one distorted focusing on the low end, and another distorted one with more prominent mid-range frequencies. Altogether, it sounds like this. Paired with the initial impact and crescendoing out of it just slightly is a ghostly ooh syllable sound thing. It sounds like a distorted cross between wind and a person breathing. And one very cool thing about this sound is that the elements come together in what appears to be an exasperated exhale, like someone's soul leaving their body with their last breath. And there really couldn't be a more perfect sound for dying in Elden Ring. So for this effect, I layered up 2 sounds. The first part is some white noise which I filtered through EQ to sound like wind. The filter widens over time after an initial downward sweep to give the effect of energy dissipating. And the second part is a clicky impact sample which I slowed way down and drowned in distortion and reverb. This sound is where the actual ooh syllable comes from, and that happens by giving it a filter effect which cuts frequencies to sound like different vowels. What I'm calling the screech is the easiest bit of the Elden Ring death sound to discern. If you just cut everything below 10 kilohertz, boom, there it is. This part of the frequency spectrum is fairly unused so far with all the low, muddy frequencies and reverb going on, so this element is good to give more definition and shape to the sound. Initially, I tried to synthesize this element, but I just couldn't get close enough to what I wanted. After attempting and failing this for a while, I finally had an idea. Cymbals are sometimes bowed in orchestral music, and it makes a pretty cool noise. This technique also works with drumsticks. So I did this to one of my own cymbals and pitched it way up. Like, way up. Then, with a lot of reverb, it sounds great. Contrasting with the oohs are the ahs. It's very subtle, but in the original sound, it kind of seems like there's a difference in vowel shape between 2 elements. The original complete sound is broken up into 2 parts, an initial hit, and then a softer but creepier crescendo and decrescendo, or a hairpin, as they're often called. The ahs are the meat behind that second softer impact, the last dying breath of the sound itself. And this bit is made up of 3 layers in my sound. Much like the oohs, I ran white noise through a ton of filters, including one which changed the sound over time from a soft, barely audible ooh during the initial impact to a strong ah during the second. I then also added a very thick filter sweep that's, come on, say it with me, drenched in reverb. And the coolest element, in my opinion, is my own voice. Slowed down and pitch bent to 2 different pitches and sent through 2 different reverb plugins. Altogether, here are the ahs. Last but not least, at the tail of the sound are a few very sparse twinkly sound. This is basically just some nice ear candy to fade your ear out of the effect and into your next attempt at whatever boss is currently manhandling you. For this, I took a preset for a synth called Harmer, slowed it down, and made it decay over time. Nice and simple. I could have made my own preset and tried to design this sound from scratch, but if you've already got the preset there, you may as well use it and save yourself the time. And with that, our sound effect is complete. So, let's hear it. So, is this anything like what FromSoft did to make the original sound? Honestly, I have no idea. I could have copied them sound for sound completely coincidentally with just a couple differences, or maybe the lead sound designer's dog just coughed the right way one day. Who knows? But that's part of the beauty of sound design. There are limitless paths you can take, making every sound designer's voice and style unique. My version isn't 100% identical, but it definitely fits within the You Died family of sound effects. I think it'd be really fun to try and create the entire thing without synthesizers, just with acoustic real-world elements, but that's a challenge for some other time. If you enjoyed this video, I have even more about just sound design and some that include sound design along with other stuff, so go check those out. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon. I'm Cornboy, and remember not to fat roll. Thanks for watching.